Hi friends! Welcome back to the Project Return Online Classroom. I'm Miss Celia, and today I wanted to take the time to explain to you something that is very important that you need to know as a healthcare consumer. I'm sure you've heard this term thrown around a lot, but you may not be clear on what it means, so I'm here to make it a little easier to understand. Today we are going to be talking about Hipaa, what it is, and what your rights are under Hipaa. Hipaa is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It was passed by Congress in 1996 and then later passed again to apply to Health and Human Services in 2003. Hipaa is the law that protects your right to privacy as a medical consumer, and this includes your private medical information. There are 3 rules within the Hipaa legislation. The first rule is called the privacy rule. The privacy rule explains who must comply with Hipaa guidelines and explains your right to privacy in reference to your protected health information. The second rule is the security rule, and the security rule sets standards for healthcare providers for providing electronically protected healthcare information. And then the third rule is the enforcement rule, and the enforcement rule addresses what happens after your right to privacy is violated. Healthcare providers are required by law to protect your information, and they do face legal consequences if this right is violated. Hipaa was passed mainly for the consumer. It is designed to protect you as a healthcare consumer. However, it creates requirements and standards for your healthcare providers that the providers need to follow. So it protects you and sets requirements for your providers. These providers include doctors, dentists, nursing or group homes, pharmacies, urgent care clinics, hospitals, and more. And it also includes your insurance providers, and that can be whether paid privately by you or through an employer, or private agencies or public insurance programs including Medicare and Medicaid. Both of those are under the Hipaa guidelines and required to keep your healthcare information confidential. Hipaa also applies to programs that contain your information. For example, healthcare providers like hospitals and doctors' offices use online software that is designed to hold your medical information. So Hipaa protects you from these software companies. It keeps the information safe, and oftentimes these software companies are not even allowed to access the information. Hipaa does not apply to non-medical organizations that also happen to hold medical information. So this includes people like gyms and fitness clubs, car insurance agencies whose plans also include health benefits. So their main goal is car insurance, but they also include some healthcare information in there. Schools and school districts are not covered under Hipaa. State agencies like Child Protective Services and Department of Children and Families are not protected under Hipaa, and any medical researchers, when you disclose your private medical information to them, they are not covered under Hipaa either. Hipaa, the information that is covered under Hipaa includes any past, present, or future physical or mental health conditions and diagnosis, the treatment that you get for that diagnosis, and any payment information that is associated with obtaining that treatment and healthcare. It also includes conversations between you and your healthcare provider about your health and your medical information. As long as the information that you provide to your medical healthcare provider does not pose an imminent threat to your safety or the safety of another individual, your conversations with your doctor are kept confidential, so nobody can access that. Hipaa also lays out specific rights that you have as a consumer that healthcare providers need to make you aware of when receiving their services. For example, you have the right to receive a written note of privacy practices, and this note of privacy practices explains how patient information is used and how it's disclosed by the healthcare provider, so you have a right to know how your information is used and where it's going. You also have the right to access or request an amendment to your healthcare records, so you can request access to your healthcare records at any time for any reason. You can also receive a detailed account of if and when your private information has been disclosed for the purposes other than treatment, payment, or healthcare. And this is in the case that your authorization may not have been required to share that information. And then finally, you reserve the right to make complaints to your healthcare provider about the privacy of your healthcare information if it's been used inappropriately. You have the right to complain to the proper people about this happening to you. HIPAA is one of the most important laws passed for medical consumers because it provides you, the consumer, with rights to privacy. You are protected by law, and so is your healthcare information. Most providers must receive explicit consent from you to share your information. There are circumstances that they don't need to receive explicit consent, and these are situations like if they believe that your safety or the safety of another individual is at risk, if it's a life-threatening emergency, or you are not unable to consent. In a case like that, they may look to your next of kin, such as a parent, child, or sibling, to consent on your behalf. But ultimately, if they are doing something to save your life and you are unable to consent to sharing medical information, then they will likely share it anyways because it's a life-threatening emergency and they need to have that crucial information in order to provide adequate care. If you guys have any questions on HIPAA guidelines and HIPAA laws, feel free to come to me or anybody else at the Project Return Center, and we can definitely inform you of your rights. At the Project Return Center, we are also covered under HIPAA, so we cannot disclose your private medical information without your explicit consent, unless it pertains to one of those 3 very specific scenarios that I had previously mentioned. If you feel like your rights have been violated and your medical information has been shared without your consent, please come and talk to one of us, and we can put you in the right direction of who you need to talk to deal with this violation of your rights and violation of your privacy. If you have any more questions, like I said, please come to one of us. That was my little video on HIPAA today, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.